So, taking a look at our journal here, main quest missions, we have the loyalty mission for Legion, which we just got. So, of course, basically that means talking to Legion almost as soon as you get him. He, of course, did not give this to us immediately. We had to complete Tally's loyalty mission first, and only after that did Legion give us his loyalty mission. But Legion has learned that the Geth Heretics have adapted a Reaper virus which, when uploaded, will compel the normal Geth to join them in their war against organic life. This virus must be stopped. Travel to the Phoenix Massing and board the Heretics Station in the Sea of Storms. Okay, so that will be, in all likelihood, next on our agenda here. Of course, we still have this follow-up after having acquired the Reaper IFF. The Reaper IFF has been acquired, and the Normandy crew are working to get it installed and operational. In the meantime, recruiting and preparing the team for the attack on the Collector base continues. So that means that given how we don't have much left here, we want to make sure that we have taken any and all necessary steps in preparation for taking the fight to the Collectors. So for that reason, we might walk around a little bit, just make sure that everything is in order around the ship and with our teammates. And of course, we do still have the Arrival assignment, technically a side quest, also technically a DLC, or at least was a DLC before Legendary Edition. This, as we've said numerous times before, is something that we are technically actually going to do as late as possible, and in this case, that means after the main quest, because this is actually a really good transition from Mass Effect 2 into Mass Effect 3, and you are allowed to do it after the main quest. So, that is all I will speak about on that topic to avoid further spoilers. But as I was saying, let's just do a quick double check here around the ship.
We have a Geth down in the AI core. It makes me a little uneasy, but I trust your judgment, Commander.
How is the crew doing, Kelly?
Is there anything I should know?
Nothing right now. Anything else, Commander?
Do you have a moment to talk?
I always have time for you, Commander.
Except, not really.
I better go.
Okay. Maybe
Not I should go. I better go. Okay. So, I imagine we spoke to Joker at the end of the previous mission, but I suppose we can double check. Not sure if he would remember. It's been a little while since then.
Commander.
But we can ask him. This is a good thing to do when you are, as we were saying, getting close to the end of the game and trying to get a bit of a reality check on, okay, how are we doing? Are we looking like we might be prepared to take the fight to the Collectors? Or are there still any of a number of things that we would like to do before that ends up happening? So, if we talk about the mission...
So, how do you think we're doing?
Well, the Normandy's good. Everything's upgraded and better than ever. If we're talking about the crew, you'd probably have to ask a people person.
What about the cockpit? I mean, that's the big reality check from Joker. He can give you an update on what is the overall status of the ship. And as we heard him say numerous times in the past, he said things like, oh, well, there's always more we can upgrade. But obviously, he's not saying that here, so that means that, yes, from a ship upgrade standpoint, we are doing well.
I assume everything is going well up here?
Good for now. Fractured my thumb on the mute, but I think I made my point.
Okay.
That's it for now.
See you, Commander.
So the ship is good. As Joker said, when it comes to people, we might need to ask more of, well, a people person. So, I don't recall, Jacob may be able to tell us this, but let's check in with him. He is someone that we've not spoken to all that much because for the longest of times, he just wanted to discuss his loyalty mission, which we'd spent a little bit of time before we address.
Commander, can I help you with something?
Let's see. So, opinion of the crew.
What do you think of the state of the crew?
Yeah, unless all distractions are removed, loyalty to the mission will suffer. Run this team through hell, and all we're getting is burned. Anything else, Commander?
Okay, so there's a good reality check from Jacob. He used the word loyalty, and, well, let's just say...
Commander.
That is not a coincidence. So, that's from Jacob, and of course we do know, and we do intend, to do Legion's loyalty mission here. So, the hope being that after having done that, that might resolve any lingering concerns amongst team members As for upgrades here, we do still have a sniper headshot damage upgrade that we could make. We've said in the past, not the highest priority because we don't use sniper rifles ourselves, and, you know, with what sort of consistency, if any, are our teammates actually hitting headshots? Not really sure. So that one may not be the end of the world if we don't actually get it. Armor upgrades, looks like we're all good there. Ship enhancements, as we heard from Joker, technically speaking, we are all set, at least with regard to the critically important ship upgrades, and so all these other things here are technically more along the optional lines, and we've spoken about them for the most part in the past. They're generally quality of life things or aesthetic things in the case of the medbay upgrade, and also ridiculously expensive in the case of the medbay upgrade, so that is something that we will probably pass on as well. As for prototypes, we've spoken quite a bit about switching around, not so much advanced training, although you could potentially even make the case for doing this. This, of course, being our bonus power at this point in time. We are currently rocking the fully upgraded Reeve, which has been doing quite well for us as an answer to barriers. But early on, we were using Kasumi's grenade, and so that's something that actually could be worth considering throwing back on here before we start going into these subsequent missions, but I think for now, we'll stick with what we have. And then, I mean, other than that, weapons, retraining powers altogether, we did do this somewhat recently, or at least considered doing this somewhat recently, when we visited the Shadowbroker base. And so I think we're doing okay in that sense. Other weapons and armors at this point are either things that we can't use ourselves, or just are unlikely to ever end up using. We have actually upgraded our armor a bit recently, so from an upgrade standpoint, we are looking quite good, I think. And other than that, obviously we spoke to Legion recently, and so that's how we got information. Thank you, Kelly. That's how we got information about the loyalty mission for him. However, we did try speaking to Tally after her loyalty mission. I think we got a little bit of an update from her, more so just a reflection on having completed that mission. But let's just check in with her one more time here, make sure she doesn't have anything else to say to us.
What can I do for you?
Have you got time to talk?
I really need to clean up this engine. Maybe later?
Okay.
I'll let you work.
Talk to you later.
So in that case, I think everything is all set here. So, why don't we head back up? And I believe we will get things started here. Heading over to this next mission. The other thing would be if there's anything from a planet scanning standpoint, or from a purchasing at shop standpoint that we might want to do, and for the most part, I think we've done pretty well resolving any of those things at this stage. Okay, so we see Help Legion is over here in the Phoenix Massing Cluster, which we have actually been to already. We're 90% explored over there. So that is where we're likely to head next. We have, of course, made an effort to explore every other system to 100%. We, technically speaking, although we were just saying, we have perhaps already purchased all of the upgrades that we are looking to purchase. There is technically a case to be made for doing a little more exploration, and, well, more specifically, obviously there's nothing else to explore that we haven't already seen, but I should say resource gathering, more specifically. So, scanning planets and launching probes. Obviously, we haven't been to the Viper Nebula yet, so that's theoretically a place where we might also find some things to scan and probe, but it may be worth taking the quickest of detours somewhere to grab a little bit more resources, and then head over to Help Legion. So, I can't say I remember by any means offhand which of these systems may or may not have planets that are particularly good for scanning that we have not yet already scanned, but you know, the Calston Rift is kind of calling my name here. For some reason, I have a hunch this might be a good one for us to go for. I thought I remembered that there was one around here that had a bunch of planets with really cool names, that had a bunch of resources, but I could be mistaken. At the very least, let's just check this first area here and see if there are any planets in this area that might have a bunch of resources. This guy's just good, and we have launched probes here already. So, I mean, I suppose that shouldn't come as much of a surprise that that is something that we have already done. And perhaps that means that any good planets for scanning, yep, we've already launched those probes. If there happens to be any really nice sources, then we could still grab them here. That's okay. But we could potentially still do better. But it looks like, yeah, we were pretty aggressive with our scanning here previously. So maybe let's take a brief detour here. And I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I'm not doing this off of any inside info or anything like that. Just, like I said, I vaguely recall that somewhere in this general area, it may not even be in the system, but there was a system that had some really cool names like Beach Thunder and stuff like that, that had some really, really high rich resource planets that we may not have had enough probes at the time to launch all that many at them. And we don't really need to be particularly picky here, I don't think, in terms of what we're trying to get, as much as we're just looking for raw resources, basically. Just sheer numbers. Okay, this is still rich. We have launched a probe here already. But in theory, that would suggest there might still be a decent source or two of something around here. Like, that's some pretty solid iridium right there. As I was saying, the exact resource I don't think matters much, if at all, here. And so if we're just looking to maximize the total number of returns, then doesn't matter if we're going for the resource we already have the most of. I think, why not launch a probe here? See how much we get. 2,000-ish. It is still considered rich. Ooh. 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 This is a palladium source that we might have liked to have had a little while back. That is a resource that we don't have a ton of right now, so again, not that that matters all that much, but we'll launch a probe there. Now afford additional upgrades if we really want to. So now it's downgraded from rich to good. So perhaps we say goodbye to sheer and move in closer. For the most part, I think, yeah, these gas giants tend not to be the best for resources. So I think that is a pretty safe bet to bet against that planet. We have already launched a bunch of probes here, so it is just good. And Agnin also launched a bunch of probes here, and we'll see if there's like any obviously amazing sources. Like, that's not bad, but that's actually, you know what? That's pretty solid. There's a tiny bit of iridium there as well. So that's worth it. No, it's technically a good planet, not an amazing planet. We certainly have seen higher numbers there in the past, but I mean, we're looking at picking up a little more here now. Then I think we can still perhaps go a little bit further with our resource gathering here. Just go to the next system up. Then we'll head back. Again, no particular resources that we are trying to find as much as just going for the raw numbers. Kobayashi, oh, has an interesting faint ring there. This is just moderate. Chances are pretty darn low we'd find anything good there. Barumto. In this case, just good. We have launched a probe here already. Yeah, so I mean, see if this is like an amazing spike that we missed, but it seems unlikely. Not bad. It's actually pretty solid. You know? Sure, we'll do it. Again, a sneaky little bit of iridium there as well. Maskawa. This planet looks really cool. Okay, we probed the heck out of it, it seems like. Perhaps. It is good, but oh, hold on. I mean, the iridium is a little deceiving because it's wide, not just tall. But now that's still pretty solid there. So, you know, I say we nab it.
Probe launched.
I think that was worth 2,000-ish there as well. And again, I'm assuming Nambu probably has not much, because it is apparently or looks like hydrogen helium gas giant. This is still rich. Takata over here. So that may bode well for our prospects. That might have a little bit more than just platinum. I'm not entirely sure, but of course we're looking for the highest peaks. Not so much numerous little components like that's, I think, the best we've seen thus far.
Probe away.
Again, it's just iridium everywhere. A little bit of platinum as well. Now it's downgraded to good. Okay. Let's see if there's any other really nice peaks here. Again, the iridium. Really does seem like there's just more iridium than anything else in the galaxy as a whole. That's not terrible. I mean, again, we've seen better, but we're not being super picky here. We're just trying to grab a little bit here and there wherever we can. So let's see. I mean, on the whole, that gets us to somewhere like 70-ish thousand across all resources. I mean, if we can do a little bit more than that, that'd be great, I think.
Probe away.
I mean, eventually this planet is going to get reduced to even lower than good, but alright, it looks like that's just about all we're going to be able to do there. So let's head back to the mass relay. We'll see if we even make it. There's a non-zero chance that we don't. Gonna be close. Ran pretty low there. Let's actually load up a bit on probes. We might try to get a little more other stuff, as I was saying, and obviously fuel after having spent a bunch there. At this point, as we were saying, we've bought basically everything that we intend to buy. So, I mean, unless you want to go to the Citadel and buy some of the optional model ships and fish and what have you, but that's just not really my style. We got our space hamster. That's all we need in my book. So that means that our credits are, well, not all that necessary at this point. We did, of course, just read up on Legion's loyalty mission, so let's head over to the Phoenix Massing Cluster, and we might see if there are other planets in this area we can scan as well. Okay, so Legion's mission is in the Sea of Storms, which is an area that we've not yet been to. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at planets here. See, that's definitely not a good candidate. Again, just looking for total resources. Doesn't really matter which specific resource it is. Another good planet. I mean, those aren't very high peaks, but there are two of them. That's generally still, I think, worse than having one really high peak, so perhaps we still pass on that. And we've definitely scanned this a whole lot as well, and we'll see if there's any obvious spike we missed. Like, that's also decent. We did load up a bit on our probes. So, in the interest of just launching all the probes we have at our disposal here. Surprised this is labeled good. I was gonna say, like, is there anything remaining here? Because that might be the only thing. Tell you what, we'll launch this. My guess is it's gonna go way down from good to something much lower. Okay, apparently there's other spikes that we still have not yet seen, but let's, now that we're on exactly 20, let's just get one more round of probes, so we're fully loaded up. Then let's take a look here at the Sea of Storms, where that is relative to the other stuff. So maybe we go quick trip to Typhoon, then we'll double back over to Legion spot. Want to find the place with the cool names. This is not it. Don't remember where it is, though. Honos. Another gas giant means probably, it's actually good resources. I'm a little bit surprised by that. As I was saying, I feel like, generally speaking, it is pretty unusual to find gas giants with good stuffs. That's not horrendously awful. There's a little bit of iridium there with the palladium, it seems like. So, I don't know, I suppose.
Launching probe.
Alright. But I would like to believe we might still find something better. At least, that's certainly my hope. Moros is rich. Okay. That's a good sign. That's what we want to see. Ooh, some Ezo. For a second there. Signs of palladium as well. Except it really doesn't want... There we go. Yeah. We'll nab it.
Launching probe.
Ezo doesn't seem to. Oh, there we go. That's better. Now again, I don't really think we care all that much about which type of resource specifically we're getting, and Ezo tends to come in smaller quantities than the other resources, so maybe not the most efficient way to do this, but we'll grab Ezo just in case. Sure, why not? It's still listed as rich. In theory, may still be more big stuffs, and this might be part of it. Palladium is good. The iridium is almost insignificant, but collectively shouldn't be bad. Still labeled as rich. Oh, okay. Here's some platinum. Here is some platinum.
Probe away.
There we go. That was a juicy one. That's the kind of thing we're looking for. This is what we wanted when we needed palladium. That's a scale breaker. Still rich. Wow. A little bit of Ezo there. Oh, oh. Hello, palladium. How high you want to go? Not that amazing. Yeah, and in theory, we've already seen all these, so we've already made a full round. I'm a little surprised it's still listed as rich. Oh, okay, well, maybe this is why.
Probe away.
Okay, nice, nice. Let's just take a quick look at Echidna here. It's good. Not great. Not rich. Surprisingly, some Ezo. That's a lot of Ezo. A whole lot of Ezo. Ah, sure. Why not?
Probe.
We've got the probes. Actually, gave us a little bit of everything? That might have given us a little bit of everything. Come to think of it. Okay. Now, I think we head over to Legion's actual spot. And in theory, there's a little bit here that we've yet to explore, so we'll check it out.
Half our fuel.
And of course, the top priority is, well, the actual station, but it looks like it is quite literally just the station. So in that case, here we go. Whoa. Looks like a helmet. Once called Heritar by the Quarians, this space station was stripped of its useful technology by the fleeing migrant fleet when they left the Perseus Veil 300 years ago. Little more than a cold metal superstructure floating in the void, the station was removed from star charts by 2050 CE. Scans indicate the station was reconstructed and upgraded in a massive effort that must have taken at least 10 years, implying that there may have been some Geth outside the Veil before their infamous attack on Eden Prime. Needing little but a fuel source, it could have been hidden here for much longer without attracting attention from the barren worlds around Tasra or the clueless Elcor in the Salahil system. Elcor clueless. Then there's fighting words. the L-Corps did nothing wrong. Heretics Station, as Legion refers to it, is home to a Geth data core, capable of broadcasting vast distances through tight beam projection. Approximately 6.6 million copies of Geth software are stored in the station. Now, mind you, that's software, not hardware. Hardware is the Geth that we are physically fighting, whereas software is, of course, the brain power to back up that hardware. And in some cases, there are numerous softwares in a single Geth hardware platform. Usually not all that many, though. I think as you go up into the higher ranking, if you will, platforms, the base troopers don't have many, but as you go up into Hunter, there's more. Go up into Prime, certainly there's more. Legion, worth noting, mentioned this when we met him, although I don't think we spoke about it much specifically. Legion is somewhat unique in the number of softwares that is residing in Legion's platform. So in that way, Geth generally will become more powerful analytically, brain power-wise, the more Geth are nearby. Their software is a neural AI network that increases in power the more there are. The more, there's quite literally more processing power when there's more of them next to each other. Legion, and that means, by contrast, if there's a single Geth trooper by itself, then it is, well, dumber, so to speak, than when it's in his group. Legion is somewhat unique, is quite unique actually in that way, in that they have all of those softwares in one platform, and so much more independent, much smarter than other Geth in that sense. So Heretics Station, as Legion refers to it, is home to a Geth data core. Oh yeah, 6.6 million copies of Geth software are stored in the station, the majority of which are kept bodiless, so yes, no hardware. Thankfully, we are not fighting 6.6 million Geth, otherwise we would not fare very well. So yeah, most are kept bodiless in servers and downloaded to legged platforms when needed. The station's population of legged platforms is approximately 2.4 million. May not be 6.6, but 2.4 million is still a whole lot. A whole lot. So what could possibly go wrong? Alright, so obviously, this is Legion's loyalty mission. So that means we are taking Legion. And in terms of what Legion does, well, Legion has the combat drone, which is good for distracting, has the AI hacking as well, and well, as we can probably surmise, given how we are raiding a Geth ship, probably should expect some Geth, which means lots of synthetics, lots of shields, and so having hacking could be quite useful, but perhaps, especially because hacking only works once we have removed an enemy's defenses, that might mean that we would want to have someone else who can specialize in getting rid of those shields quickly and efficiently. And one person who can do that, in addition to adding to the hacking abilities, would of course be Tali. Naturally, or of course we brought these two with each other on Tali's loyalty mission. However, we did just finish Tali's loyalty mission, which means we now have access to her energy drain skill, which covers for what was previously her biggest weakness. She sure had tons of crowd control with her drone, and at least against synthetics, could hack those synthetics, which is basically also crowd control, because it distracts everyone. But as we were saying with Legion, Tali wasn't able to use that hacking unless and until we removed our enemy's defenses, and she didn't have a great way to do that. The drone could do it slowly. I suppose it would distract enemies while we whittled down their defenses with our weapons, but with energy drain, she becomes a very efficient character when it comes to removing those Geth shields, and really becomes a great Geth specialist. And we are running out of missions here, so in the interest of giving ourselves the chance of seeing what this energy drain is all about, I think there is not a better time to throw Tali in as our second person here. There is a case to be made for including some other people in this mission, particularly on lower difficulties. If you're just looking for specific unique dialogues, there are some other options. Jack is worth noting for that purpose. If you are comfortable taking whomever, then you could consider taking her. But as I was saying, in the interest of having somebody, or in the interest of being able to see what Tally's energy drain is all about, I think I'd like to get the chance to do that here. So let's use Tally in that case. And it's only fitting that after taking Legion to Tally's loyalty mission, we do it vice versa as well. Okay, and in terms of our points here, we are now level 30, which is the cap. So that means these are all the points we're ever going to get. And unfortunately, we don't have enough to get to pull 4 with Shepard. Really, really wish we did not have to sacrifice 2 points in Shockwave just to unlock pull. Because these, I mean, how often have we used Shockwave? Almost never. It is not a very good skill. But having the 3 more points from Shockwave would have given us just enough for pull 4, then we would have had 1 point to spare. I mean, I suppose we could have gone Shockwave 1 in that case, but point is, so close, yet so far. So that means Shepard is good here. As for Legion, think we may, I mean, we can't afford anything here. Combat drone costs 4 points, we only have 3. Question would be, once we do unlock the additional points, do we throw them all into, or actually, we're not going to unlock any additional points, what I'm saying, because we aren't going to level. So, I mean, Death Shield Boost will come available to us after completing Legion's loyalty mission. And so I suppose that means that by definition, that will be the only other ability we'll be able to put points into, because we will not have enough for Combat Drone. Tally, though. For Tally, we deliberately saved a whole bunch of skill points because we knew that as soon as we got Energy Drain, we wanted to invest in it all the way. And so that is why, as I was saying, we wanted to get the chance to use her here, because it's something we were waiting for. So, just to talk a little more specifically about what Energy Drain does, within a small area of effect, you can divert power from an opponent's shields or from synthetic enemies to restore the user's shield. So, it does great damage against shields and synthetics. I think it might work against synthetics even once you've already removed their shields. It does not work against organics if you've already removed their shields. For organics, you must specifically be targeting shields or barriers. I think it does bonus damage against shields. I think it does base damage against barriers. And then I think base damage against synthetics on health. And then quite literally 0 damage against organics once you get rid of their shields. So in this mission, assuming we're going to run into primarily Geth, that shouldn't be much of a problem. So, the other thing that it does is it also increases the user's shields. So that means it will make Tally tankier. And that is another reason why there was a long time where I was considering us using this as Shepard's bonus ability, because I thought we might have had some issues with shields, but it turned out our Geth Plasma Shotgun was pretty much single-handedly dealing with shields, and we got our additional survivability from getting Reeve rather than Energy Drain, and I knew that we were probably going to wait to do Tally's loyalty mission until relatively late, so I figured we probably shouldn't wait for something, for a bonus power if we're only going to get it at the very end of the game. But anyways, that's all on the side. In terms of what we get when we level up Energy Drain, it is better damage, and then, of course, we'll take a look once we get all the way up to rank 4. We have either Heavy Energy Drain or Area Drain. So Heavy, presumably, would mean more high damage to a single target or fewer number of targets. Your Energy Drain is much more disruptive to synthetics and shields, causing unparalleled damage. So it is 40 more damage in the case of Heavy Energy Drain, and the radius is 1.2 meters, whereas if we go Area Drain, then that gets us to 3 meters, but 40 less damage. So, it's an interesting question. For the most part, when it's come to the choice between going with higher damage, smaller AoE versus lower damage, higher AoE, we've generally gone for AoE because, especially on higher difficulties, when every enemy has some layer of defenses, and we can't use some abilities like AI hacking until those defenses are gone, then getting rid of as many of those defenses as quickly as possible is usually ideal, and so that's sort of my logic behind going with the area option on most people's abilities. You could make the case that perhaps going the heavy route would mean if you have one specific enemy that you really want to be the one that you hack, then this makes it easier for you to set that up. but I think the damage difference is not that big, and I mean 40 is actually, it's somewhat significant. That is pretty big. But as I was saying, we do have the Geth Plasma Shotgun, which has done a lot of damage to shields, so if we really need to remove the shields on, say, something like a Geth Prime, then one area drain is probably not going to single-handedly do it, but add in a fully charged Geth Plasma Shotgun hit, and that might be enough. So for that reason, I think we still go with area drain here. And then she has 1 point to spare, but we are not going to be able to throw that into anything, so that will have to do. So that's it for powers. Then in terms of our weapon loadouts here, now, as you were saying, Geth Plasma Shotgun, ironically, is very effective against Geth because it does great damage against shields, so we will give them a bit of a taste of their own medicine in that way. So we'll definitely stick with that. Other than that, the Locust is also great against shields. Carnifex, that's probably not going to be something we use all that much. Primary question would be, with our heavy weapon, what do we want to go with there? And you definitely could make the case for the arc projector, because it does do really well against shields. It does do really well against synthetics. So, I'm leaning that way. Although, we could use this as an opportunity to experiment a little bit with a new heavy weapon that we purchased not that long ago from Omega, and we just haven't had the chance to use it yet, the Black Storm. So as a reminder, the Black Storm, colloquially called the Black Hole Gun, encases particles of matter within a high-powered mass-increasing field, elevating them to near-infinite mass. This creates a gravitational singularity that draws nearby enemies and objects inward for a short time. The rapidly increasing gravity near the singularity's event horizon rips the objects apart. The mass effect field soon destabilizes and returns to normal mass with explosive results. It's sort of similar to the arc projector, or not the arc projector, rather the which one is it? The avalanche, I should say, in that it is good for crowd control. It can basically stun, stagger, disable numerous enemies simultaneously. In terms of damage, I'm not entirely sure how they compare. I want to say that maybe the Black Storm is a little bit more damage, a little less crowd control-y, but I could be mistaken there. Of course, we've not yet used it, so why not? We'll give it a little bit of a shot here. Otherwise, Arc Projector is, of course, a safe bet against shield-heavy enemies and synthetics, which, as we were saying, attacking a Geth ship, we're expecting to run into a whole bunch of Geth, so that's the safe option. But in the interest of giving ourselves the chance to actually try this out, let's go for it. Then, for others, Tally, or rather Legion, I think we stick with the Vindicator. It's a little more of an all-rounder weapon, whereas the Matic is better against specifically armor. And as we were saying, we're expecting a lot of shields, so Vindicator is a little bit better against them in that case, I believe. Then, we did not have enough resources to purchase Legion's upgraded sniper rifle that is unique to him. That might have been worth double-checking after we did some additional scanning. It was possible that may have been an option, and of course this would have been a great opportunity to check it out. So, obviously it's not happening here, but maybe on a future occasion. Possibly. I suppose we'll stick with the incisor, though. And for Tally, we definitely want her to have the Geth Plasma Shotgun as well. As we're saying, it's great against the shields, and then heavy pistol, probably not something either of us are going to use all that often, so that shouldn't matter too much. We'll stick with the Carnifex in that case. And here we go.
You know, it's just our heat emissions that are hidden, right? They could look out a window and see us coming.
Windows are structural weaknesses. Geth, do not use them. Approach the hull at these coordinates. Access achieved. We may proceed.
Joker, be nice. Also, we look ridiculous with our new helmet. Not that our previous helmet looked that respectable either. Okay. Also worth mentioning, that is a thing. It does mean that biotics can be more effective than usual, so there is perhaps reason to bring biotically inclined teammates as well. Again, we're kind of deliberately making a point of bringing Tally because we want to make sure that we have a chance to use her new energy drain power, but you could also justify bringing biotics for that reason. We, of course, have some ourselves, so that's one reason why it felt as though we didn't need to do that, because we can sort of make that happen, although would have been nice if we could also have gotten someone else who could do biotics too. But anyways, let's see. So, yeah, little air or gravity. What about alarms?
Won't we be detected? Don't they have intrusion alarms?
Sensors have been reduced. We have infiltrated their wireless network and filled the data storage with random bits.
Oh. So what does that mean exactly for us?
And that helps us how?
The Heretics must scrub this junk data. They have partitioned themselves into local networks, working in parallel. Any alarm we trigger will not go beyond the room we are in. Only accessing the main core will trigger a station-wide alert.
We've got a job to do. Let's get to it.
Shepard, Commander, we concluded that destruction of this station was the only resolution to the heretic question. There is now a second option. Their
What?
virus can be repurposed. If released into the station's network, the heretics will be rewritten to accept our truth.
Either way, these Geth won't be a problem anymore. But Shepard, think about this. If you rewrite these Geth, they'll join the others. Legion's Geth will be stronger. Can we trust them not to attack us in the future?
So remember, the premise of this whole mission was that Legion said, hey, there's this group, this subgroup of Geth that Legion refers to as the Heretics, and this is one of, if not their primary, bases of operations, and they are trying to upload some kind of virus to infect other Geth and convert them over to their heretic ways, and those heretic ways are the ways of the Reapers, that basically have convinced the Geth, hey, you should side with us because organics are bad. And, well, needless to say, we do not need to be adding any more Geth to our list of enemies here. We've already got enough problems with the Collectors. So, why did you not tell us earlier that perhaps we might be able to reverse card these Geth heretics and instead get them to join your non-heretical Geth? And, yeah, that would be worth considering, I suppose.
Why didn't you mention this before we came aboard?
We did not know the virus was complete. It is. It can be used against the true Geth at any time. Our arrival was timely.
Okay. Phew, and so this does start to break open what becomes a very difficult question to answer. As Tally was saying, sure, rewriting these heretic Geth might mean removing them, or in a way, and well, but on the other hand, it means adding numbers to the normal Geth, and those Geth are still the enemies of the Quarians, and so can't imagine Tally would be too thrilled about us adding numbers to her arch nemesis. So what is your recommendation then, Legion?
They're your people, Legion. You must have an opinion.
This is new data. We have not yet reached consensus. We will process as the mission proceeds.
Okay. And so then the really tricky thing is the ethics. The ethics of it, it's a really interesting question. Rewriting an AI. Is that unethical? Is that just a simple matter of, well, that's what you do to machines? Or do you say, well, hold on, these machines are self-aware. In some ways, they're just like living, breathing people. And, well, are we functionally brainwashing them and convincing them to do something against their will? Perhaps?
I wouldn't brainwash an organic race. I can't see treating the Geth differently.
The question is irrelevant. If we do not rewrite them, we destroy them. That is why we are here. Do not hesitate now. They will exterminate your species because their gods tell them to. You cannot negotiate with them. They do not share your pity, remorse, or fear.
But that's good context. Remember why we're here. We are here to destroy them. So, whether we destroy them or we rewrite them, one way or another, we are looking to take them out. But bear all that stuff in mind. Let's make sure we are on our best anti-shield stuffs, and let's save here now that we are in the mission. Okay, so we're on the station. Just to double check our journal here. So, as we were saying, Legion learned that the Geth Heretics have adapted a Reaper virus, which, when uploaded, will compel the normal Geth to join them in their war against organic life and basically side with the Reapers, and so the virus must be stopped one way or another, whether that is by rewriting those Geth or by destroying them. They must be dealt with. Okay, not sure how we're doing from a head kit standpoint. Apparently we don't need them, but that's fine. I mean, I suppose, as we were saying, we are not in desperate need of credits at this stage either. Okay. So, here's the thing.
The Geth are inactive. Maybe we can sneak past them.
Interrupting data streams will alert local network. We recommend preemptive strikes against hardlink routers.
So here's the thing. Just keep you guys here for a second.
Yes.
You see these green lines in the ground. Well, the thing is, at the moment, the Geth do not know we're here. But remember what Legion was saying about how there are, well, local alarms that perhaps we might set off that would only alert Geth in the same room as us? Well, let's just say, cross those green lines at your own peril. And Shepard counts, so do your teammates, which is why I deliberately told our friends to hold their positions there. But I'm afraid, eventually, we will need to make a move. Except here's the thing. We've got Geth right here. So, let's prepare accordingly and initiate with a bit of a bang. So, of course, one way to get the Geth's attention, as I was alluding to there, is have anyone cross one of those green lines and they will become alert. However, shoot them, and they will also, but they will not notice you until you do either of those things, so at the very least it allows us to get the first shot in here, and by hitting them with a fully charged Geth Plasma Shotgun, we can now use hacking to get, let's see, at least one of them, namely the basic one, or rather, namely the Hunter, which is really nice. You, however, I would very much like to deal with, oh, and I forgot to put on our ammo, which is rather unfortunate. Take a quick second here. Okay, you are causing problems again, and the Hunter may no longer be hacked. So let's do something about that. And then let's do something about that. You are supposed to be hacked, but I'm concerned that you may not be. Namely, you in particular, I thought we had made a point of hacking, but you are pursuing with a little too much aggression here, and normally when we hack someone, they will gain shields. You do not have shields right now, which makes me very suspicious, so I think we need to do something about you. I think we pull you before you do anything too clever here. We might have accidentally hacked the basic Ripper? Not entirely sure. So let's blast you. And now let's deal with you. Believe you're dead? Think you're dead? I think you're dead. Okay, so as we were saying, that triggers the alarm for this room. And before we head out, bear in mind...
Shepard, I'm picking up useful resources in the Geth hubs. We could salvage them for supplies.
You can also destroy the hubs themselves, and as you just saw, they explode and can do a fair bit of damage here. So that is another option for getting the first hit in on those Geth. Then, once you do so, you can get some credits from them.
These are mobile platforms, hardware. The crew is software. They are communing through the station's central computer.
Okay, tell us more.
I'm not sure I follow.
The Heretics connect to the main computer to exchange data memories and program updates. We gain complexity by linking together. To be isolated within a single platform is to be reduced. We see less, comprehend less. It is quieter.
If you exchange data, memories, how do you keep track of which ones are yours? How do you stay you?
There is only we. We were created to share data among ourselves. The difference between Geth is perspective. We are many eyes looking at the same things. One platform will see things another does not, and will make different judgments.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, but does that by definition, though, mean that the Geth heretics are a part of the Geth as a whole? They may not be a large component. Legion seem to imply that they are just a relatively small subcomponent, but they are still technically part of you? Or are they completely separate at this point, in some way?
I can see why you'd be conflicted about the heretics. In a way, whatever you do to them, you're doing to yourself.
Yes, once they return to us and upload their memories, we will share their experience of being altered.
Yeah, so that could be... Certainly, it sounds like they are separate right now, because they are not linked together with the normal Geth. But if, say, we were to reprogram them, as we were saying we might want to do, and then reintegrate them with the existing normal Geth, then we might have brainwashed them, convinced them to side with us, but that memory still remains of them having been converted, and so is there still some risk that those previous heretical Geth could decide later on to go back to their old ways, even if we try to force feed them the other way?
Every other species I know of might be psychologically scarred by a traumatic experience like that.
It is not clear if Geth can be traumatized. We do not feel pain as you do. We cannot predict what the effects will be.
Let's keep moving.
Yes.
Okay. So as I was saying, after you have engaged with any of the Geth that are next to one of these hubs, make sure you destroy the hub if you haven't already, because then you can salvage it for some additional credits, and decent credits at that. Okay, let's carry on though.